Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football Dill Sunday morning. And we're just doing another one of these kind of episodes. Billy Napier and the Florida Gators losing to a USF team that, look, USF is a quality football team. They ain't close to what Florida's trotting out there. And Dill, I think that the frustrating part for a lot of Florida fans is this is not the first time we've done these kind of episodes. We got a lot to talk about. Like number one, let's talk about what went wrong in this football game. We have to talk about Billy Napier's job security. If you're a Florida fan, whether you want him gone right now or not, chances are you've wanted him gone at some point during the last couple of years. That just can't happen. The roller coaster that this program is, you can't have that at a program like Florida Dill. There are some real highs. That's the frustrating part for me. Y'all can tell I'm frustrated because I was a believer in Florida. I'm still a believer in terms of what I see on this roster. Dill, player retention, player development. Like Billy Napier's done some good things at Florida. But when it comes to game days in the fall, the wheels just consistently fall off. You get paid to win games. I don't care how you do it, whether you want to use the portal, whether you want to recruit high school. I don't give a damn. What you get paid for is figuring out ways to win on Saturdays. That is just not what Billy Napier has consistently done at Florida. You have to talk about the future of Billy Napier at Florida. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about, hey, some coaches, and we're doing this conversation. We had it 12 months ago. Gonna have it again. And what coaches would make sense for Florida. A lot to talk about before we get into it. As always, the Florida fans appreciate you guys. And again, y'all can tell how frustrated I am. It's been a blast talking this football team. The fact that we have to have this conversation after week 2 of the 2025 year, very disappointing. Would love to hear from the Florida fans. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Whether you just want to vent, whether you want to offer some head coaching candidates, maybe let it rip in the comment section. Dill, I'm gonna put you on the tee box here. Let's start with this football game. Florida losing to USF. What happened?
And it's the frustrating part is you've seen the story play out. Like I think back 2 years ago against Kentucky, where you have a couple of just big mistakes that really just kill you, don't give you a chance in this game. I mean, Florida dominated this game, especially in the
Yeah.
first half, where they were really just going up and down the field. Brutal mistakes in the red zone, take two penalties, can't score touchdowns, kick two field goals, and then you go into that 9-6. Like that game should have probably been 20-6, 20-3, something like that. That's what the score should have looked like. And it just didn't, because again, you make some of those big mistakes. And then in the second half, you kind of run it right back. You make two brutal mistakes. I'd probably say the spitting incident, inexcusable, just can't happen. And then not getting set on defense and giving up a 7-yard touchdown pass. Like the consistency with which you've seen those type of mistakes
Yeah.
over the course of Billy's
Yeah.
tenure is really what I think frustrates you, because you said it, like the bulk of what this program does is really good, but those are mistakes that cost you games, and they've been costing him games for his whole tenure.
You said it, it's the consistency. It's the fact that we've had these same conversations for years when we're talking about this program. Dill, one of the things I think you need to talk about here is Billy Napier's infatuation with still calling the plays. I mean, it hurts you for a couple of different reasons. One, I don't think he's a great play caller. Like that is to me not the reason Florida went out and hired him. When you're talking about Coach Sark, when you're talking about Lincoln Riley at USC, look, that's a massive asset that they bring to their programs as coaches. That's not the asset that Billy Napier brings to Florida, but he is so steadfast in doing it. And I'm not saying the play calling is what lost Florida this game. I don't think it was great. But here's the more important thing, Dill, is that when your head coach is buried in the play sheet, like that's how some of this stuff happens when we're not subbing the right way, when we're managing the clock just absolutely brutally, when we're not going for it on fourth downs, when the analytics are clearly telling you to go for it. Like those are the head coach's responsibilities. And when you are so concerned with trying to get all fancy with your offensive play calling, when Dill, you didn't have to run super fancy stuff to go beat this football team, but Billy Napier really wanted to, that's when things get ugly. and I'm looking at it and say, what would Florida look like if Billy Napier said, hey, maybe I'm not a great play caller, and maybe I'll go hire somebody who's really good and lets me focus on managing this football team on game days better. What would this program look like? But I don't know. Is it an ego thing? Is he just living in a fantasy world where he's an elite play caller? I don't know what it is.
Well, I think he does think that, and again, I'm kinda with you. It's like, at Clemson, I think they pulled the play calling duties from him. It's like, he hasn't been a guy that has been an offensive coordinator that makes you think, "Yes, this is a Lincoln Riley or a Steve Sarkisian," or those
No.
type of coordinators that are just a little like even a Jed Fish, I would think, like, unique, gifted play callers. I'm kinda with you. Again, it's not just, like, the situational management, but, like, the emotional management of a football game, because that's also been something I
Yeah.
feel like Florida's really struggled with. When things start getting rolling bad on them, they don't really typically dig themselves out of that ditch. Like, and again, I don't know how much that is on the head coach, but at the end of the
I
day,
think it
the
has to
wins
be
and
a little
losses
bit,
are.
right? Like, I think, yeah, you noted it right. At the end of the day, the wins and losses are. It has to be a little bit, right? Like when we just came out sluggish, right? And that was very clearly what Florida did. Like they were going out there just not really stepping on the throat very much. So when I'm looking at my head coach, say, "Hey, get the
Like, you
fellas a little bit
know your
higher."
team, know how to figure out how to get the best out of them, and that's just not what he does on game day. Again, he kinda does get the best out of them in certain areas, but on game day, he does not get that Florida team's best almost ever.
Let's DJ Lagway has to be a conversation too. He was bad. Really. And I know he had a few drops and he made some good throws. The problem with me with what we saw from DJ is you saw a young quarterback that hadn't practiced all year, right? I mean, how many times was he full go in practice during the offseason? Wasn't once in spring practice. It was limited amount of times in fall camp as well. We talked about DJ taking the steps with the little things. We did not see that. We saw a couple of good throws. We also saw a lot of bad throws. His ability to manage the pocket was a joke. Like, look, was the offensive line elite against the USF? No, probably not. Was the pass protection pretty dang solid? Go look at the PFF numbers. You know, PFF is telling me he was only under pressure 4% of dropbacks. Dill, maybe it would be a little higher if I was grading it out, but it wouldn't be much higher. He's just consistently dropping his eyes, and that's look. I don't know if you can blame DJ Lagway with the injuries. I don't really know what was going on there, but what we saw was a young quarterback that is extremely gifted, that is clearly still developing. In the fact that he wasn't able to practice a lick for the last 8 months, it no doubt hurt this football team Saturday against
Because you
USF.
see, like, he tries to throw with anticipation to his receivers, and it's just not clicking. Like, I think of that, like, kinda out route they ran later in
Yes,
the game.
yeah,
It's like,
not even
okay, I
close.
get what he's trying to do, but, I mean, that's really, really open, and you are way off on the timing. Yeah, that's kinda, like, almost sums up, I think, exactly what you're kinda saying, just, like, not being able to do that type of thing, and that's not
That
exactly high
has to have
level
if
D1 play.
if you
That's
if you
easy.
wanna win a national championship, that needs to be like, I can make that throw with my eyes closed. And the timing with me and my wide receivers perfect. Wasn't even close. Wasn't even close. Dill, I mean, like, I don't you look at the defense, I don't
No,
it
they were
was
really
not
good.
great, and they missed some tackles, and I know maybe in that fourth quarter it wasn't as good as you wanted. I didn't think it was that big of a problem
Yeah, I'm
on the
not gonna
defense side
blame
of
the
the football.
defense for that.
Can't.
That was very much an offensive game, inability to score touchdowns in the red zone. That one play, that was bad, like, not being
Yeah.
able to get your subs on and giving up kind of a wouldn't call it a freebie, but, like, that can't happen, obviously. Other than that, and obviously the spitting incident, which wasn't ideal, like, the defense, I did think played pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, and Alex Golish gonna figure out way to score points. I thought Florida, for the most part, was solid on the defense side of the football. When you score 16 points against the USF defense, that's not all that good. That is a monster problem. Dill, you want to get into what needs to happen for Billy Napier? This is probably what Florida fans want to listen to, right? Is like, all right, where to next here with Billy Napier in Florida? What is I should say this? What does Billy Napier need to do to save his job in Gainesville?
You probably gotta go win. I think he's probably got to go win at minimum 8 games, and I'm not sure
It's
that's going to be enough. And I'm saying like 8 games on the season,
mm-mm,
so whatever they
no,
have left,
no.
that record's got to be at least 8 wins. And
Playoffs.
I'm not sure that's going to be
It's
enough.
playoffs. You have evaporated your leash. You have to be perfect now, right? Like this is I get your schedule's hard. This is a college football playoff roster, and if you show again that you can't maximize the talent on your football team, you have to go, right? I mean, this is year 4 now. Look, if they didn't lose this game in this fashion, or if they just lost to some games like Dill, if they had 4 losses, if they went 8-4 and the losses looked right, whereas like, hey, we just played some really good teams, came up short a couple of times. Yeah, maybe he's keeping his job at 8-4. With this kind of loss on the docket, you don't have that leash anymore. Now you got to go be perfect. Now you got to go darn near run not darn near. You got to go run the table and make the college football playoffs. At least the way I look at it, because you can't have these kind of performances year after year after year. I get it, and here's the thing: like we've seen Florida turn the switch. We saw them do it last year in
That's what I
November.
was thinking. Like, as much as like I'd be really down right now, we all kind of felt this way about Billy Napier last year, especially right after that A&M game where it was like, okay, now you go Miami, A&M, both don't look particularly prepared,
Yeah,
ready to
yeah,
rock and roll. And he did dig themselves out of that last year.
yep,
So again, it's not like crazy to think he can do it. I certainly think this team's good enough. Like this to me still
yes,
is a really, really good team, especially when you start getting the rest of that unit healthy. And again, like that's not, I'm not going to use health as an excuse for USF. I don't care who's injured. You don't lose to USF if you're the
agreed.
Florida Gators. But as they get like Caleb Banks back and Wilson and some of these other players, this is still a team that I think can go out there and be really, really tough. So I wouldn't like, I mean, again, we'll talk about the hot seat and new coaches. Like, I'm not really exactly ready to have that conversation yet
I
because we
am.
saw him kind of make it happen last year and get them back rolling on
Oh,
track.
yeah. So what I'll say is this: you're not firing Billy Napier right now, right? Here's the thing: I'll say like Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame lost NIU week 2 at home, and then ran the table and made it to the national championship. I'm not necessarily saying Florida's going to do that, but we knew Notre Dame was good last year, and they kind of figured it out. Florida, we again, like you said, we know this team has that capability. They have the capability to win against every team on their schedule, especially when you start looking at the SEC, saying, hey, it's like a lot of beatable teams in this conference this year. Still, if he doesn't figure it out, right? And again, I'll say this: we're not firing him on Sunday morning. But if he doesn't figure it out throughout the rest of 2025, who would be your guy if you were going out and making a hire here?
It's got to be Kiffin. That was my guy last year. That hasn't really changed. I think Lane Kiffin at Florida could be a real problem. He'd be my number one target, and I think it'd be by a decent margin, to be honest.
Yeah, and see, Lane Kiffin, I'd be okay with calling plays because he's actually good at it.
Exactly.
I got a couple. I mean, I know people are probably going to mention Alex Golish. I don't think, like, we just kind of tried that with Billy Napier, like going G5, and it didn't work.
Yeah,
If
go
Billy
take a
Napier,
swing. You got to take a swing here.
so John Summerall, I like a lot from Tulane. Similar conversation, but that feels a little bit different to me with John Summerall, in my opinion. I got
Mm,
two other. So Lane Kiffin's my first option, but I got two other like fun ones. Okay, Glenn Schumann from Georgia. That to me makes a lot of like that's you just saw Oregon do this with Dan Lanning. Like, why not try to find your Dan Lanning, right? And he's a young coach that could stay there for 20 plus years if you hit on him. Dill, what about this one? And this one, I don't know if I'm necessarily arguing for, but I think it'd be fun. Ben Arbuckle at Oklahoma. He's young. You'd be taking a shot. Dill, Ben
no,
Arbuckle.
I think
No,
you.
hey, listen. Hear me out. Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer, that duo right there. They have come into Oklahoma. They might have just saved Brent Venable's job, just so we're very clear, and has injected a swagger into that program that we hadn't seen. Could he do that
Okay,
for
you're
Florida?
kind. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I think back of that game and the energy he had and the energy he
It's
was
different,
bringing,
man.
like I kind of get it, but I do think that's just too big of a risk. I don't know. I feel like they've kind of gone to that like smaller coach well too many times now.
Sure.
Like just go get Lane Kiffin, go get Jed Fish, go get Eli Drinkwitz. Like those are big names. They'd all take the Florida job if you paid them the way that Florida's supposed to be paying their head coach.
Sure.
That's probably the direction I'm leaning. Just like a big time proven head coach who
Here's the thing that should fire our flow. Like there's normally that conversation when teams want to fire a coach where it's like, well, who are you gonna get? Like, could you get a clear upgrade? Yeah, Florida could. Like, Florida could go out and get. There's probably 6 or 7 coaches that would say no to the Florida job right now. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe that number's 10. But that there are not many coaches that if Florida went to a sitting head coach and said, "Hey, we want you to be our next head coach," there ain't many that say no. That it'll be exciting if we have to have that conversation. It'll be fun because there'll be a lot of
And I'm
coaches
not sure there's going to be a lot of other teams hiring coaches right now. Like it's not going to be like it was that cycle where everybody was hiring a coach that year. I what was it, 22 or 2021? I can't remember which year it was, but there was that one year where like USC was
Yeah,
hiring a
no,
coach
I'm
and
with you.
Ravens
I
hiring.
will see though. I mean, we'll see what happens at Auburn and we'll see what happens at Ellis because there are a bunch of coaches that like they got to win this year too. But
But they all kind of got a big
good
game under
starts.
their belt a little bit to
Yeah, sure,
keep the
sure,
barbarians from the gate,
sure.
if you will.
All right, we'll close it out there. Florida fans, God, I can't believe we're doing this episode again, but we did. Appreciate you guys. Would love to hear from y'all in the comment section. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.